When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him. I understand him. I want to make something clear. I would still kick the living fuck out of Jake Paul.
Andrew Tate just tore into Jake Paul like a bulldozer through a sandcastle, and honestly, it was glorious. He called Jake out for being, in no uncertain terms, an absolute dick.
Because he's allowed himself to become the biggest clown on the internet, and now he's famous, right? Because he's an idiot. But he has a bunch of money, so he gets to...
Tate blasted Jake for disrespecting boxing, a sport cherished by billions, and tarnishing its reputation. But Jake didn't stop there. He had the audacity to drag a living legend into his circus of a fight by involving Mike Tyson. Not only did Jake ruin the event, but he also disrespected Tyson's legacy in the process. His Twitter comments were all over the place.
However, I do understand what he's doing. I understand that he is very, very smart, even with his marketing angle. I'm just a YouTuber. You're not just a YouTuber. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who's dedicated his life to learning how to box for years. You know how to box. You're not a complete amateur. You know how to box very well. 3, 4, 5 years of training combat sports. You can box. The guy's not a jackass.
Jake knows it. What's the point? A few extra likes on his Instagram? Andrew isn't holding back. He straight up blamed Jake for the whole fiasco, calling it a disgrace to combat sports and a slap in the face to Tyson's legendary career. The worst part? Jake doesn't even seem to feel any shame about it. It's shamelessness at its finest, and Andrew's not letting it slide.
I made a video that called out Jake Paul.
$3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. You know my name, Andrew Tate. I will fight you any day, anytime. Let's talk. If I were to fight Jake Paul, I would. You seriously in a real fight? And I'd whoop his ass. I'd be in.
Andrew Tate absolutely tore into Jake Paul on live TV, and honestly, it was long overdue. Jake Paul, the self-proclaimed savior of boxing, with a record as shaky as his haircuts, 6 wins, 1 loss, and a fan base that's more enthusiastic about his TikToks than his punches, walks around like he's reinvented the sport. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate boasts 76 professional kickboxing wins, 23 knockouts, and 0 patience for Jake's YouTube boxing circus. And no, if boxing were a legitimate sport instead of Jake's personal social media playground, he wouldn't even make it past tryouts.
He is not just. He is a young man training with Canelo and Ryan Garcia.
When I made the video, I
Jake's
really
latest
disliked Jake
stunt,
Paul. Now,
dragging
I don't dislike him.
58-year-old
I
Mike Tyson
understand.
out of retirement for a so-called fight. Seriously, who does that? Tyson is a legend, a Hall of Famer who's earned his place in history and his time away from the ring. But Jake thought it'd be a good idea to slap Tyson's name on a pay-per-view event and call it a day. Andrew Tate didn't hold back, calling it exactly what it is, a joke, and not a funny one. This isn't boxing, it's just an ego trip for a content creator, and Tate isn't letting it slide.
I challenged him, because he is a very fortunate young man. And he's fortunate because he's extremely rich, because he's allowed himself to become the biggest clown on the internet, and now he's famous, right? Because he's an idiot. But he has a bunch of money, so he gets to...
Tate, a guy who's fought elite athletes for over a decade, called Jake out for padding his record with opponents who either don't belong in a ring or are just collecting retirement checks. Let's recap Jake's greatest hits: a YouTuber, a retired basketball player, and a lineup of former MMA fighters whose boxing skills are as sharp as a butter knife. Oh, and we can't forget the Mike Tyson fiasco. So, a YouTuber who, if Jake spent half as much time training as he does picking his opponents, maybe we'd actually respect him, but here we are.
But I still whoop his ass. But I would whoop his ass. But he wouldn't take a fight against me, because when he loses, I'm not nearly on his level of fame, right? So like, he lost to who? Whereas if he loses to Conor McGregor, it's no big deal. Well, he lost to Conor McGregor, who cares, right? That's what it's about. But yeah, so I wouldn't. Yeah, it's fun for him.
When Tate called Jake a clown, it wasn't just trash talk. It was the truth. Jake Paul is the guy who shows up to a costume party in a suit and calls himself James Bond. He's playing dress up, and it's painfully obvious. Tate's challenge to Jake was simple: stop hiding behind gimmicks, step into the ring with a real fighter, and prove you've got more to offer than Instagram captions. Tate has spent years mastering his craft, fighting opponents who can actually punch back, while Jake's been busy promoting himself on social media and flexing on TikTok. He's the guy who skips practice but still wants to be team captain. It's embarrassing, really. If these two ever step into the ring, Tate won't just win, he'll dismantle Jake in front of his own fan base. Honestly, it'll be the reality check Jake's been avoiding. But baseball has taught me not to run. We need Tate.
I love it. I'm shit. Go on. Why? Go forward. Hey,
let's talk about Tyson fighting one more time because it deserves a special level of roasting. Jake fighting Mike Tyson at this stage of his life is like challenging a retired Olympian to a sprint and calling it a fair race. It's disrespectful, desperate, and exactly what we've come to expect from Jake. Tate didn't hold back, and neither should we. If you're fighting someone 31 years older than you, it's not a competition, it's elder abuse. Andrew wouldn't, but Jake would, because he lacks both humanity and common sense. On paper, Jake and Tate might seem evenly matched. Both are over 6 feet tall, weighing around 190 to 200 pounds. But here's the catch. Experience and skill aren't measured on paper, and that's where Jake doesn't stand a chance. Tate has been fighting for over a decade. Jake's been boxing for what, 4 years? And most of that time has been spent figuring out how to make his next fight trend on Twitter. The guy is a walking brand deal, not a boxer.
Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. I'm sorry, Tristan Tate is the weak link.
I say let's
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
A MMA
10
double tag team
million,
match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight on.
Andrew Tate has always made it clear that Mike Tyson is more than just a name in boxing. He's a living legend, an icon who helped shape the sport. Tate respects Tyson the way fighters should respect each other, with honor, not opportunism. This isn't a PR stunt or a hashtag moment for him. Tate openly acknowledges Tyson is one of the greatest. And unlike Jake Paul, Tate wouldn't dream of dragging Tyson into some farce of a fight just to boost his social media numbers. Nobody's concerned about trash-talking Tate. That's because Tate values legacy while Jake Paul values clicks. It's that
Two
simple.
brothers, one cage. One cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to. I'm
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
Don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got state agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through, and I know kind of men we are.
Let's talk about Jake for a second. The guy who thought fighting a 58-year-old Mike Tyson was a great career move. Fighting is a strong word, though. Exploiting is more accurate. Jake didn't see Tyson as a man who's earned his rest. He saw him as a shortcut to staying in the headlines. And the worst part, Jake genuinely thought this would make him look like a real boxer. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, sees Tyson as a figure whose legacy should be respected, not paraded around for cheap cash grabs. Tate didn't hold back, calling Jake out for what this fight really was, a desperate attempt to cling to relevance. Honestly, he's spot on. Even Tyson, who's too classy to outright roast Jake, has subtly pointed out the massive difference between figures like Tate and Jake. The Tyson respects fighters like Tate because, like him, they've earned their influence. They've put in the work, taken the hits, and emerged as real fighters. Jake Paul's antics probably make Tyson roll his eyes so hard they're practically doing laps. The difference is clear. Tate operates with dignity, while Jake operates like a walking billboard for his next viral moment. Public reaction to Jake's stunt was brutal, and rightfully so. Fans and analysts saw right through it. Fighting Tyson at 58 wasn't a bold move. It was a blatant cash grab. People were outraged not just by the disrespect to Tyson, but by Jake's audacity to think this would somehow earn him respect in the boxing world. The combat sports community has had enough of the smoke and mirrors and is practically begging Andrew Tate to step in and deliver the reality check Jake's been dodging. And let's not pretend Jake doesn't know exactly what he's doing. He's been avoiding real fighters for years, carefully curating his opponents to build a fake legacy. But Andrew Tate isn't some retired MMA guy looking for a payday. He's a former kickboxing world champion with 76 wins and a level of experience Jake can only dream of. If these two ever step into the ring, it won't be a fight, it'll be a dismantling. Tate will tear through Jake like a buzzsaw through cardboard, and everyone knows it, including Jake. The media's been having a field day with the possibility of this fight, and the internet is buzzing with memes, debates, and predictions. Social media is lit up with people begging Tate to shut Jake down once and for all. For Tate, it's a chance to show the world what a real fighter looks like. For Jake, it's a chance to prove he's more than just a glorified YouTuber, but let's be honest, he's not.